Well, only with the breath. Do we start? I just wrote it. It's 12:30 in the morning. No time like now. We need to get stuff going. So I set this up for tomorrow, but I think I'm just going to kind of roll into this tonight and give a first portion of 1 part 2 of our first ferment of our True Kombucha brewing at Mr. and Mrs. Chefs by Design. So, no makeup, in my PJs. I have an apron on. Sanitize my hands. Let's chat. Let's do this. This is our station tonight. I'm filming at about it's 12:32 in the morning. And it's October 2nd, 2021. And so this is the first ferment brewing kombucha. And we are doing it our way and rocking it out because we need to. And so we're going hard. We're going to bring it all. We're doing it demo style with you live. So please, all humans that are watching, take from this what you will. I'm sorry that I have to talk in my undertone as much as it's probably good for, it's a good thing. I've got Mom below sleeping right here and Tyler and Tegan as well. It's our chef's perspective and our personal perspective in our journey. We're going to prep the bottles, wash and sanitize. We're going to gather the brewing supplies. We're going to brew the first ferment. So Tyler has done that. Here we are. We've gathered. We're going to brew and we're going to discuss about the water, the sugar, the tea. So discussing the vessels and sanitization recap bottle. Feeding hotels too. Water, sugar, tea, scale prep bundles. That's tonight. Tomorrow, we will go over boiling the water and then carrying on with resting overnight, covering it. And then the next day we remove and we then carry into the next process of adding the scoby so delicately. Then you rest and let them sleep. Hi, I'm Chef Kristen. This is our first ferment, brewing our True style kombucha. Please take notes the way and however it resonates with you. Kombucha brewing, this is how we do it, and I'm just gonna fill it in and share a few extra tips so it can adapt to all styles of plethora of people, communities, groups, small or large. Please take note and let's have some fun. Quality of ingredients is very important. So first choosing suppliers, if not made by yourself, is very important. And we support a really great quality company here locally, which is wonderful too. That is a certified organic supplier, and so it's wonderful. So we've got a great sencha, and we have a sound as the dark. We're going to brew a black and green tea tonight, and the black and green tea is very important because they're both caffeinated, and that's what kombucha needs. It's not important for the first ferment to have a lot of flavor. That's when you get creative at the second ferment. There's 2 sections to brewing kombucha. You can stay at the first ferment and complete, and then you can choose to take it into an excellence of adaptability modes. And so you choose that to go an extra set of the journey. And so often we do. I'm going to share how because it's worth it. The bowls are worth it. It's all about brewing into the second ferment, creating a flavored kombucha, which in chosen vessels will offer possibly some really great carbonation, which the natural effervescence of those bubbles is wonderful for tummies with balancing all that negative acid. This is the good bubbles, the good bacteria you want in your tum-tum. So great quality ingredients. We've got a garden outside. We'll share about that, and then please check into that if you're interested. And so this is our kombucha. This is the first stage from sanitizing bottles to now setting the stage and the tempo of the first ferment of kombucha. So welcome to our first fermenting kombucha stage. And tonight I'm scaling out five green teas, and I'm scaling out one black tea. I'm using cheesecloth or the choice of material, cotton material, and I'm going to talk about that a little further with wrapping it with some butcher's twine, and then we make these pockets of these big tea bags for the tea. So I've got then some sugar, and we're going to scale the sugar right into the vessels, and then the tea bags are waiting and ready. So I'm actually going to do the sugar first, get the vessels out of the way, then we'll talk tea, then we're going to go into the vessels of maybe we'll just carry on with the information. So here we go. Rule of thumb is sweeteners in the second ferment, you've got a lot of opportunity to sweeten however you'd like, as naturally and carefully, because in the first ferment, it goes under such an undertaking through the fermentation that it really does dissolve, digest, and transform. And I'm talking the living microorganisms that create the scoby is the bacteria and yeast combined. So their vibrant energy together as brother and sister dance and harmonize and form a scoby, a protective top layer. And that forms like a mushroom. And this basically, they call it a mushroom, but it's basically a pad. It's a lily pad, and it's kind of like a squid or raw chicken sort of texture. And it's very, very strong, and it's great when it's pureed and used, carried on in other ways. But what this does is in the acidic environment of sweetened tea, it starts to eat the sweetened sugars that melt in with the hot water. The granulated sugar melts in, and then the tea bags absorb, of course. It all harmonizes, and we actually let her sit over at room temperature for overnight until tomorrow for room temperature, covered with a really great thick towel, so no fruit flies can get in. And again, I see one right now, actually, kind of driving me nuts because they smell my scoby that I brought out over for you guys. So basically, we don't mess around with the organic cane sugar or organic unrefined cane sugar. That's where we live for now. There's some things where Tyler and I are going to share that we're even still trying to do better at and not use. We did just test recently a complete start to finish honey, which is my chosen sweetener of choice. And so if that was the case, I tried it and we could do it. But to our note, from all the kombucha we've drank of the red and the yellow, which many of you know has been now 6 years, we absolutely love it to every glass that we have. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah. So I tear at the scale to 0. I put in 1,200 grams. I'm here to say, for the amount that I drink, probably around a liter or so every day or every few days on average, I don't sweat it overall. I still drink a lot of herbal tea. I drink a lot of water. We stopped drinking alcohol over 1.5 years ago, so almost coming up to 2 years. At Christmas, we gifted that to ourselves, and that was wonderful. And yeah, so we haven't looked back. So we just got it from Costco, and there we go. So yeah, I never thought to bring it live like this, like as we're brewing our own, but I might as well since we're getting ready. So we brew 60, normally on average, we brew 4 of these 15-liter vessels. And 4 of these a month will get us basically a comfortable 4 to 5 weeks, really. We stretch it. I almost have to always kind of hold back on drinking kombucha. As silly as that sounds, it's the truth. Sugar is not ideal, and we are trying to wean away from it, but this is one area where we still are rocking with it. People choose this to brew. It's really small. By the time you actually get your tea in there, scoby, you need to stay on the flat level. You don't want to hover on the neck, so you really want to pick wide. So I've given some variety here. And basically you brew up to about here, you add some starter liquid and your scoby, that's it. So when you take that back out later and you need that 10%, 15% for your next brew, you take that off the top. It's high-powered bacteria off the top. You just scoop that off for your next one, and I'll carry on that conversation later. But then you take the extra liquid and that goes into your bottles. So it's ideal to choose amber because of the light, especially because these are living probiotics. And but I love to share what it looks like, and I don't strain mine when we don't strain ours. When we funnel and pour, there could be yeasty globules. People think that they're the mother. It's not the mother. It's just a yeasty, snotty bacteria little chunk. So I'm gonna share with you later about doing ointment pads. That's gonna be for this, and this. I've got a couple different sizes, and we're gonna do face masks for ladies and gentlemen. Anyone interested in doing face masks? Peekaboo! I see you. Let's get some beautiful rejuvenation and bumping beautiful brightness to our skin by good old natural scoby. So we're going to share beyond the beverage, a lot of tips to come. Be careful about glass. This is the vessel that we've actually really grown into, and you can get these temperature strips, and they're quite nice if you kind of have it in spotty spots. You can get actual like heating pads that can wrap around, or heating little blankets. We'd often recommend people to put it into the sink, put a pad or a cloth down, and then place this on in the sink. And then when you pour your water in, if any spills over, it soaks up with the towel, big deal. And it's a buffer, right? So it doesn't slide, it doesn't bang and clang around. And it's a buffer, it's a nice buffer for the glass. And then that way, it sits in your sink to cool down, doesn't move anywhere. When cool, you transfer over to your storage overnight, which I'm going to talk further about. And so you're okay as long as you don't need to wash dishes in the meanwhile, you're good to go. So if you do use glass, I do highly recommend that. And be careful, make sure that they're good quality. You see how thick and like strong that is? This is a thinner glass. Anybody that wants this size, you can get that on Amazon. You can get these on Uline, and you can get this on Uline. You can get the Brewed line. And the Brewed come in bigger. We have bigger sizes than this little guy here. And this is actually technically, the plastic is supposed to be not possible with kombucha brewing. It's very possible. And we brew some really great kombucha, and we store our scobies and make our vinegar in the Breweds. And our girls have a comfortable warm room, and there's 6 of these larger Breweds filled with vinegar and scobies. We've saved every scoby along the way. They're our little babies. We can't let them go, and we're waiting to share. We're just one thing at a time, and we needed to birth Tegan and give this harmony time to him, this beautiful nurturing time to him. When we brew the water tomorrow, stainless steel is best, and a high quality thick steel is best. Stay away from aluminum. We do, and very commonly in aluminum and Teflon, all that type of other material, but really it's not ideal. So stainless steel is the best, and then we'll talk water tomorrow, but water is important, filtered, beautiful water. So I have large size because we do big batches. So a double layer, normal, is this big. And so I would put a circle amount in here, piece of tea. I'd put a circle amount in here and gather the corners, and that then would be tied with the butcher's twine, and you try to reuse them, but they don't last long. And so you start going through a lot of cheesecloth, and when I was buying them, we were buying the cheesecloth, but it's just more wasteful. So we ended up going with another select choice. What I did was I went to the material store and picked up some cotton and then cut 8 of these big patches, utilizing as much of the material as possible. So they're not perfect size, but basically they then get folded up and tightened up into its little bundle, and I only just cinch it into every possible area where it can't leak anything of the leaf, and then we tie it nice and tight so it has room to expand, and that's ideal. So a way to go is you can keep it clean by I do this, round around my hand 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm doing 6. So I did 6 around, and then I snip once. Look at that magic trick. Oh. All right, so we have brought this to a boil. This water here, just turn it off. And I'm just gonna let it go over like that. That water is going to get dunked into here up to the 15 to the 16 liter mark. Okay, so 18 liters is about there, so I'm gonna go just above 16. Boom, and then that, when we squeeze out the tea bag, is going to count for that to have a nice amount to have scoby come up and the starter liquid. So we basically just kind of take it, use our little table here. I'm going to clear off those and then put them in to cool after. So this is our second big pot, and that's the first one. I'm going to get some more water in there, and then yeah, rock and roll. Bring it to a boil, boil it for 10 full minutes, and then toss it into your sugar mixture. So here goes, here's that. pull back every couple. Don't keep your body and your face over it, because if you do, keep your body and your face over this as you pour, you're gonna find that you're gonna struggle pouring. There you go. So one container makes a perfect jug. There you have it. First one ready to go. So the beauty of the sugar, the water, making the simple syrup right now, and then adding a tea bag, and voila! We just let that sit and take the heat off it, and then we will send it inside, like I said. So, rock and roll. I'm gonna get into this honey and ginger. You can see how the honey is just liquidy, just super liquid. That's it. You do not want to heat it at all. Just a light heat, super low. And then I turned it off and I just let it harmonize, and I just kept this covered, and I'm just gonna put it covered back on until I can get to it later. We did the discussion of the vessels. So glass is ideal. Be careful if they shatter. Plastic, be careful for anything but food grade in a high quality. There is certain plastics, we can talk further about that, but basically go for the Combros and go for the Brewed, and you're safe and fine. Use towels to cover and secure them really well with bands. When these cool, this is the towel I'm gonna cover these over with later, and we have special gray towels that we use for the booch, and the white towels for the hand towels. So these are not shower towels. Anyway, I have a few. We put them over top overnight, and then tomorrow we're going to secure, as you'll see, the booch when we carry on forward, and we add the scoby and the liquid, the starter liquid, to it. So here is the water, the sugar. We have water. If you have like a city water that you're kind of dealing with, then we recommend boiling it for 10 minutes to just roll off the chlorine. And then basically turn it off, pour it over the sugar, stir it around, add the tea bag, let it cool down, put a cover over it overnight. The next day, add the starter liquid, add the scoby, give it a stir, give it a kiss, close her up, put a name on it, say goodnight in a warm area at 28 degrees for 12 to, well, between 10 and 14 days, but I recommend 14 days, just 2 solid, beautiful weeks. And then do your bottling, give it 5 days, put them in the fridge and drink. Repeat. Wash your bottles along the way, get your mise en place ready, get your fruit ready, get your purees, whatever your thought is for your flavorings, and rock and roll. Now I personally don't like inclusions in kombucha besides the scoby, the little, what people think the yeasty little mothering, the little snot globules, they are actually yeasty bits. But besides that, honestly, I don't want to have like blackberry seeds and herbal bits like in my teeth. And yeah, I love the essence of. So naturally flavored decoctions of things, and making our own root booch, which is our own root beer syrup that we make homemade and fresh, and then we add that to the kombucha. So completely all us. So I'm gonna get making that, and that's to come in some of the flavoring, and I've got all of the ingredients ready to go. So tea, we have the tea, green and black, straight up, stick to that, boom. Scale and prep the bundles, basically get yourself ready to go to then boil, and then you're gonna boil and cover, remove tea bags, like I said, for tomorrow, and then carry on. This is a pH meter, and I had it sitting in the solution, 676. So I just need to go up a hair, and there's just a little pin in the back right there that you just take this little tiny screwdriver that they give you in the little kit that you can buy for 40 bucks. They make it pretty easy to understand. These come and you can get refills. 6.86. This comes, it's like 40 bucks off Amazon. And those little powders last a while. And you can always buy more if you're really gung-ho. You can also use pH paper strips. But I just really like this. And so I just do a solution, and then I just keep it in and set to the side. And every couple months I change it. And then I just grab regular water, and I have that. So when I'm going between, I don't want to dip into that clean water. Oh, I just leaked that. So the goal is to not leak. That's actually a good tell. This is a good troubleshoot. Don't leak. Be careful that these don't cocoon and cave in. That's a big danger no-no, because that's what the fruit flies love. If you ever see that on any towel, and this is a really good example of a troubleshooting moment that I'll talk about later. But this is very much like that. Moisture is exactly what they go for. And these. Now, I will saran wrap this so it won't become an issue. I'm actually going to do that right now. Let's do the pH. So you're just supposed to wave it in there a little bit and just let it kind of hover for a moment or two. It should go in about that much. Nope, she moved to 6.02. Is what you want to stay above or below. And when you go above, it's in danger. So you want to stay well below 4.65. And otherwise you go to the spectrum of the high pH. On the scale of 0 to 14, 7 is neutral. Therefore, the water was neutral. This is 2.64 pH. It's that basic. You can use the strips. You can do a color match. That's fine. I just do that. And if you want to see, so 2.64. This is the bricks. And this is a fairly pricey investment, but it gives a consistent read as far as the quality of the feedback is. So I've been recording with that, pairing the pH with that, and the numbers always just like, it's a conversation. It's a conversation. Anyway, we all get pH. pH is very important for food safety. We understand more than the bricks is more science and theoretical. Into the starter liquid, into our babes. And I'm putting about 1 liter in each one. I love you, girls. Thank you so much for being a part of the family. No, it's the last one to dip. See, I dedicate one good towel to this. I try to not touch things, but I'm not really diving my hands into anything yet besides touching those scobies in a moment, but I do an extra pre-wash. Should do an extra pre-wash before I touch them. We don't strain, and that one last. Yeah. surprised me. I'm so much more frazzled than I ever used to be. You know, from tagging, but just like seriously now, it's like, oh my god. But if I just slow and steady, I'll get there. Just like all y'all. Tyler has been a rock star at brewing for us for so long. I haven't even actually brewed for so long. It's like I have to stop and sort of double check myself. So, later works. I can just top that up with water after. And then now I have some for that babe over there, and she actually doesn't need the whole liter. She needs 1/4 of that, and that's exactly how much I have. If not, just shy. So I'm more at like 400 mils. But I pulled this out last night. And actually, I would do a liter. Actually, that would be like 1/4. See, I'm doing so good, and then all of a sudden I do that. I'm not used to pouring back in the bucket. That towel is now toast. Okay. But yeah, I was like, yeah, let's just be gluttonous. No, let's not. Divided by 4. Okay. All right. I'm gonna check pH before I put scoby in. Now that the liquid's in there. .54. 3.54. 3.55. .58. So how does that tell you? Does that make you feel good? Makes me feel good. 4.65 is what we want to be under, and we're clearly already at that right now to drink it, to have that safe for consumption. Just so you know. we've dedicated a whole bunch of white towels, and then that's them. So just make sure that they're nice and clean as can be. And we wrap some more bands around it, and we tack them in. And so if they float or don't float, doesn't matter. They should float between 1 and 3 or so days. And as long as it forms a scoby, that's all that matters. And then you stay under the pH, and it should be acidic to taste. Have a nice aromatic, nutty, light, sweet aroma with a little bit of, you know, tartness is what you're looking for. And then you do the second ferment. So see you in 2 weeks. Welcome to 1 week with our girls. Looking so fantastic. Those are yeasty bits that settle. Looks like sediment on the side of the container. It almost looks like the bottom of the ocean, just the way that it seeps and then settles to the ground once it eats and digests. This is a good tell. So this is one that basically just kind of half floated and then basically formed. So these are a really good example of how they are all uniquely their own. This one is the black tea that we did. This one I put in the whole scoby and just let it form. You can see how it formed right to, just like how ice would on the top of a lake. And then this is the test that, can you do it with just plain kombucha and not have a wonky looking thing? And can it be done? You betcha. There's your scoby pads right there. So now for these two to be ointments or face masks, you want to keep them this thin. So therefore we would add more sugar, and you would just basically add more sweet tea, 10% for another week. Sweet tea, 10%. Sweet tea, 10%. To get the same size vessel. That's how you would do that. Still waiting another week, but now flavoring. Got to get on that. So I'm ready to go. When we go to bring our bottles out, we do a 15 to 20% amount of juice or liquid in the bottom. And we top it up with fermented tea. And then wait 5 more days and then drink it. Yeah. All right, this is 3 kilograms. Oh, look at that, 3.333. I didn't even notice that with the spoon. So with the spoon in the bowl, this is a wonderful unpasteurized honey, which we're actually going to boil. So, haha, but it is quality of beautiful honey. We have sassafras bark, sarsaparilla root, and licorice root. We're going, and with water, and we have 12 liters of water. Essential oils after. So this is gonna reduce down halfway. So we're gonna add these together, and that is a wonderful mixture. Beautiful roll. Root booch on its way. Root booch syrup in the making. All right, here is our sassy syrup. It's super thick with all of our mulch in there. So by the time it strains out, it's gonna be just below the half, which is beautiful. All right, so here I'm washing. We have lemon balm, lemon verbena, 2 types of the thyme, as we know and love, and holy basil. That's going to be a lemon iced tea. Herb infused honey. I'm not really wanting to heat it up, so I'm going to turn it off, take it off the heat. This submerge this beautiful herb, and then we're gonna give it a nice blitz in a little bit after it steeps. And then that's gonna get infused into our kombucha. And if I need water, I'm gonna use this beautiful cannabis root water. Yeah, cannabis roots. Water, yeah. Our fermenting room, and it's been such a blessing to have the girls have their own space. So we just have a dark curtain here, and she just has a nice little heater that we keep nice space from. I've got a little extra shelf there with some supplies. We have below here a big bottling rack with sanitized bottles ready to go, and those are all of our dark amber ones. And then these are towels. We have vinegars that the kombucha makes. You age it further and it makes vinegar. And pure, beautiful homemade vinegar is absolutely wonderful, and I'm so excited to share about that. So I'm gonna get these bottles organized. My goal is to get the juice in. I'm gonna show about the juice, and then these are the girls that we're going to basically enjoy their fermented tea. These are green tea, the sencha green tea. And then down here are scobies and hotels. And this is kombucha, the scoby that's pureed, which I'll discuss a little further with some scientific info. That's going to come with along here. This is a little bit of a test project that we've been talking about. Down here is the juices. Actually, I'll show this first too. And here is the juices. So we've got rooming to warm room temperature. Goyin, which is a company, our network marketing company that we've fizzled out pretty much, and just used to have that Goyin that's been kind of kicking to finish up. Here's the ginger honey paste that we're going to mix with, well, the apple, of course. And then we're going to do a Merlot up front, and then the Happy Planets in behind. So I set up 55 bottles here. That's what I could set. We use a bar, and we have a tape, a wood stick that's just nice because we can cut on it and we're not chewing up our tables with our X-Acto knife that we can hammer through. So Tyler and I like to take care of that on the side. And what I've got ready is the bricks machine and my pH as well. So the pH is sitting in water. It's a 6.86 pH, which is a water solution. Take it out, and I have it now calibrated. So now I have regular, just purified water in 2 glasses that sit, and then I have a distilled little dabber. So the distilled dabber is for the bricks machine. They don't compare together, but you compare them on their own. And I've got a lot of science and data and a lot of history with this, and time spent with this. So I know a lot of the personality behind it. So I know how to read, like I've read it now. I feel it, it's in the blood. So basically, I tuck this away, and we have a nice tray there, and we just keep kind of on its own as our little sanitary tray. And basically I keep the pH, and I use the other 2 glasses just as a dip solution. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna feed with some tea that we brewed earlier, but it's cool enough. Bring these girls down, and then we're gonna test 5 days with giving them the same amount of liquid. And so what the scoby does is it basically traps in and makes wall to form a protective liner, barrier from anything foreign. It's it's defense mechanism, and so then all the harmony lives inside. I keep feeding them every 5 days. We're doing plain apple, ginger, honey, pomegranate, blueberry, apple, mango, apple, pear, or mango, apple, peach. These are two, the red and the yellow, and Goyin, Merlot, root booch, and then the black is plain, and then honey, lemon, verbena, thyme, holy basil. And then we're gonna go into all of that later after. So flavoring, non-carbonated versus carbonated, yeah, and the flavoring, the vinegars, we're gonna talk about all that. Pomegranate blueberry comes in at 3.11. Ginger honey mulch. So 1-to-1 ginger honey mulch. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. Okay. It's probably like 200 grams. So about 300 grams to about 1.5 liters. But this is what they're looking like so far. And so you can see that grit just a little bit extra, not desirable. But that usually gets washed down. This is for the black tea. And this is the herb syrup. Oh, look how beautiful she is. This is our root beer. And so that's gonna get strained as well. Now this is a scoby. Say hello to Miss Scoby. Got one under here floating. The liquid, starter liquid, had married through, created yeasty bits that settle. The bacteria stays towards the top. We take off the starter liquid for the next brew off the top first with the scobies. So you can see here, it's just kind of jelly, shiny, liquidy. And so what they do is they seal all the way to every edge of the vessel because it keeps the protective barrier and nice and strong and safe for their product on the inside. And so they just basically peel apart like that. And so that's the older one underneath. Now you can see it's just aging in color a little bit now. And then it just gets that murky, yeasty particle. Just starting to put the liquid now in, which is the first fermented tea. So technically you would brew last night, another full tea like we had, get it ready, let it sit overnight at room temperature with a cover top. Right now, I would take off that cover top, squeeze out my tea bag, set it aside to be composted and recycled that way. And then I have my tea ready to go that I would add this into. I would put my towel over top and say goodnight for 2 weeks. This is just gonna set over to the side. The scobies are gonna be added to it. We're gonna let the rest of ours relax and we're gonna drink over the next 2 months. And when we come 2 weeks close to brewing, needing to brew to drink more, like now, we're at the bottom ends, well, gotta get brewing. So from here, it's very, very crucial. We use these, we like to use glass as much as possible, but we did get in the habit, like we glass and metal, but there is the plastic now and again, like you see with the funnel. But try your best to use glass or stainless steel metal. So we do have these. They are awesome to have the lever over the top. When I come over and I just try to help it, and I do like to actually keep a little bit of a towel under here too. And if you go too fast, too much, you just make more of a mess, which actually slows you down in the better of it all. So really, as long as you get a good funnel movement and you can just kind of keep a steady stream. And my goal is to get it right around that neck. Now, depending on how fizzy and bubbly the juice is and the tea on itself as we are stirring things, you want it to hover around this neck part. This is almost a just touch too low. We want it to just hover right in the neck. So if you're having a bottle like this that has just a base lid from the ones in the store, they usually have just a very little amount of oxygen. Therefore, it's one of the many ways that they can manipulate, and we can manipulate not having a bunch of headroom, and that basically doesn't allow for the carbonation to become, it keeps it suppressed until it really opens. But then again, store-bought kombucha has forced carbonation, which is man-made, which is made from gosh knows, go Google that. And we have our natural effervescence of bubbles, which is the natural CO2 that is formed that you want to glug chug back into your tum all the time. And that's the good bacteria that we strive for. So this is it. That's what you're going for. Once we get all of these full, and again, the mess that you make, when you have a clean towel, we wipe the top. If you have, pour any on the side, clean them up right away because of the fruit flies, if you have any. This, we stay covered. We kind of just do a few as we go. And yeah, it's game on. Stir as you go because the yeast will set it, the yeast settles to the bottom. It's like the ocean, the sediment, the murky stuff at the bottom will settle. So I've got the pH meter here. We're gonna put that in and give it a test. We have the Brix probe reader. It's the refractometer that tests the sugar density. So I'm gonna give another read here. This is the first ferment kombucha. It sits at 7.3 on the percent. That's how much, yeah, perfect. That's how much sugar there is in a ratio of percentage up to 100 being sugar. Sucrose sits at 100. So on the glycemic index, different sweeteners sit at different levels. And there's that. So now you can see here, this sits comfortably below 4.6. It's sitting at 3.03. And that tells you that that is safe for consumption. So under 4.6 on the pH is considered safe for consumption or health authorities. And so that's wonderful. We can drink this, bottle this, enjoy this, and we can also take this and just let it continue to ferment and age further without feeding it, and it becomes vinegar. That's it. Then you bottle vinegar and you can flavor vinegar, and that's another conversation. These are the juices that we've done first. They're even under 4.6. Then that. So we're already, once we combine them, going to be sitting comfortably anyway. So I just want to share that the Brix is not the same as a pH meter. It has a totally different scale. They are different. On the end, give her a good shake. We'll give her a good test to see. 3.22 on the pH, which is fabulous. Every time we fill, we want to stir because we don't want the yeasty bits to settle and the bacteria on top to be inconsistent, because then you're going to get inconsistent bubbles if that's what we're striving for. Now sitting them for 5 days. So my goal is to have consistency. So that's beautiful. Basically, we just do this. This one stays in and it helps the spill. You grab like this and then we go. Too little, too much, just right. The reason is because you want to have some room, which we call head space. There's a little bit of movement for oxygen and carbonation to happen, and to basically for the sugars. What happens right now is all of the yeast are feeding on the sugar. Sugar is the fruit. Fruit is pureed into juice, hence the juice in the bottom. It now comes to life. We're having a party. It's eating the cake and everything at the party, having a fun time, and then we're going for a nap and we're gonna digest, and then we're gonna start to have some gas and discard what, you know, the extra. So basically that is your carbon dioxide, gas, and alcohol being released, being created, being formed, and then released. So in that carbon dioxide, gas, and alcohol, CO2 is the bubble and the alcohol is the byproduct of fermentation. Don't be afraid of it. You don't get drunk on a lot of booch. Trust me. So this is just like the world of kimchi and sauerkraut, all fermented, living and alive and not pasteurized and not irradiated, straight up alive and living. And be careful, because if you don't get these in the fridge in 5 days, they will blow. They are bottled glass, and these caps are secured and awesome. These bottles are babes. That's why we love them so much. You can see the sediment, that's the yeasty bits, the particles that go to the bottom. And the bakers, truly, they actually will gather that, and then out of the bottom, the murkiness, and then that's how we make sourdough culture for a true kombucha sourdough culture bread. But what I've just started doing is just straight up plain kombucha and just using that as my liquid, and it's pretty awesome. Boom, there you go. So chop her up, eat her fresh, puree her, smooth her, put her into a, oh goodness, make her into treats, make her into scoby jellies or leather, dog food, animal food. Apparently the horses loved it and the doggies did too. Yeah, and then we're gonna take off 2 big liters off the top just to keep some liquid flowing there. And then so now this becomes the tea that we now add in over to our second ferment flavoring. We can bottle it up straight up, which we also will plain without any flavoring, and it'll go in non-carbonated to the fridge, and we will use it in our cooking and our food and everything we do. Yeah, and then we carry on using these however we can, give them away as well. Our first ferment that are flavored, either right now in the fridge, non-carbonated, or put them aside for another 5 days, anywhere between 3 and 6 days, depending on your room temperature. Ideally, 28 degrees is optimal for fermentation for the kombucha. So we have 8 beautiful Goyins, and I'm just in love with them. 8 beautiful Goyins. We love, love, love you. Just finishing up our Merlot blend. This is pomegranate, blueberry, and cherry. And again, we do the 200 ml. And we scale each one and we stir them as we go. So we're pretty precise. So to these 3 jars, which is basically almost a liter, so 3 liters, we've got 14. And that is not topped yet with the kombucha, but that will then carry on because now that's the flavor of those. So I'm going to carry on from that to the root beer flavoring. So we're just going to set this aside for a moment. And we read that. And we're at 15.4. So you're reading 15.4 on the Brix scale, which is the percentage of sugar ratio. As far as sugar density goes, granulated sugar is 100%. Based off of that margin, we have honey and glucose that are under around the 60 to 80 marks, and dextrose. There's all these different other polysugars, so we have the range of the glycemic index, and on that we margin the sweetening power. So what I'm doing right now is we've made our own syrup that I'm basing off of Happy Planet amounts. Literally is what I did from the very beginning, because I followed a recipe offline and then just kind of manipulated the feeling into just what she feels, a little more, a little less, a little tart, a little sweet. And so what we've always gone for is understanding there's usually around the 25 to 30 gram mark of sugar in these juices, whatever brand, whatever, where we've gone between, you know, the different groceries and places to grab. We just do what we can. Retail, it's been our world for a while. It is what it is. Our Goyin bottles, the ones that were fizzling out, these are $30 bottles, I think, they're probably over 30 bucks now. They were, because of your purchasing, they were giving you Goyin for life, and we had that for a while, so I had quite a few stocked. So these are the last that we have, and we're gonna enjoy them wonderfully. And then the Merlot is we love Bremner's. If I can get all Bremner's, it'd be amazing. But we've got the Bremner's pomegranate, we have the blueberry, and we have a cherry juice, a dark cherry. And so that's the blend that we made there, okay? Now we're gonna look at what is going on in this root booch. Let's give it a stir. So all we did was strain it. We don't know how. Just give it a healthy stir. All right. Yep. Put some on. Pull my bubbles. Oh. You suck out to scoop. And then we read. And 44.1. Wow, 44.1. So I'm just going to tell you, root 44.1%. And the Merlot juice, 16. Well, yeah, it is juice. Anyway, you know what I mean. So I'm making myself notes. The lesson here is that we have a super high saturation of sugar concentration. If we were to put 200 mils, which is actually up to here, if we were to put the same amount that we need, volume for volume, to flavor like the other ones, but now the sugar density is way different than the pomegranate blueberry. Now, what did that come in at? That came in at 11.2%. So if we're margining off of the one I just showed you, this, or that was the mango one, okay, 30, this comes 26 grams, right? So anyway, they're both pretty much the same, 11% there, okay? So 11%, 16%, that's pretty kind of, you know, the Merlot's a little bit more sweeter. I could kick down a little bit. I could go 150 grams or mils, or I could take it a day early, or I could just have a little bit more bubble. Do I like to chance things? Do I like to stretch limits? You bet. Does Tyler love it when the bottles blow? No. Use a towel and we'll be good. That's the deal. Don't ever just ever not open your booch without a towel and just get that first glass out, pour it instantly, breathe, cap it, you're good to go. Keep it cold and wonderful always, and fresh and beautiful. Drink it fresh and beautiful. Okay, so just to recap on this, root booch comes in at 44%. So now we need to thin this down with flavoring, or like there's just too much sweetener in here. It's too powerful. So we have to be careful. Now it might go 4 days and we might test. How do you test? We do a psh, burp, a psh test. And that's basically burping your kombucha. And sometimes they just want to burp too. You just release the pressure so they can continue to drive that acidity, drop your pH level if needed, because now the sweetener brings us back up, but we come down. Now, most of what we've been making is already sitting comfortably still under 4.6. So we don't have to come, there's no coming down. We're still under 4.6. But would this syrup bring us over if we just did the same volumes? It definitely would. So therefore, we got to figure something out here. You got to find the flow and the balance. So making your own syrups and your own starter flavorings are very important to understand. Fruits like blueberries differ from mangoes, differ from raspberries in tartness and sweetening power, back to that glycemic index of the sugar density. A lot of people do like to add inclusions, the straight up raspberries, the straight up blueberries. I personally don't. If anything, I would want to chop them. I would want the skin off. For the amount of time that the sugars and the yeast are trying to eat the sugars and the skin to differ from the inside fleshy parts. So your timeline of what you're doing and what you're going are so sporadic. And then when you're adding different flavors that you don't know, like ginger isn't even a fruit, but it spikes the power of kombucha's fermentation. So that's pretty wild to know. So anything with ginger, boom, you're going to get even more power right off the top. So what else are we adding? You can add any kind of flavoring, any kind of oils, essential oils. This is going in. We're actually going to flavor that now as I talk and work. We're going to put the Merlot aside, but this is where we're at. I have to make decisions. We have to make decisions. We're in control, and you have to respect the fermentation and what it needs. It needs time, temperature, oxygen, moisture, and well, temperature is heat. And so with that, we have a consistent warm room. We have a dark setting, usually without the lights on. And then the containers matter too. So optimally, having the amber is best for the life of the power of your probiotic love of the beautiful bacteria that we're thriving and striving to grow. So what happens in the distribution is they have to go through strict protocols and a lot of different possibilities are offered. The production of the quality respect. So there's a lot of variety of kombucha out there now, and it's no surprise a lot of people don't care for kombucha, those that have tasted it. Those that basically have seen those that have tasted it and so in their face, that's enough for them. So I challenge all of you to try our kombucha. Let's get back to this root booch, shall we? We need wintergreen and lemon essential oil. We're gonna do 18 and 12. Winter, never. Okay, this is sitting at 4.29. So 4.6 is actually what is legally needed to be under. We're already under there with your syrup right off the top. So isn't that a trip that this sweet, sweet, sweet high power, now that's the value of safety in some weird way, because you know, it's the water activity that we're really striving away from. Now this is made with water, but then we evaporate it. So I evaporated it enough perfectly that this will be shelf stable and not create bacteria, will not mold and spoil as fast if under the right environment, right? No impurities. Keep it, of course, in a cool and very cold. If not, you know, you can even freeze this syrup too. So what I did last time was I made pucks with extra the remillage, the watered rinse through mulch. That is the water I should add to this to basically bring down that sugar value without diluting the flavor. Okay, so now we're going into the black tea. We're doing the green, lemon, verbena, thyme, holy basil, honey with cannabis root water, 750 mils to the honey and to the green. And we do a reed. Super viscous. Oh, 59. Oh my God, I made a syrup of 59. Read again. 59.3. The bubbles are the way to breathe. 59.3. Got a little bit of grain, but I like it. Oh yeah. Super sweet. Good though. Kind of like surprised how good it is actually. 59.3. Holy moly, Batman. So what does that lesson tell you? Way more than 44. That's the highest I've ever seen it. So this is our homemade lemonade. This is True Bucha lemonade. You're probably wondering, True Bucha. True is the trueness of our heart, T-R-U. Boo is a boo for Tyler loves and calls me boo. And boos have just enormed our life and world with the eights of infinity, going round and round and round for infinity times infinity. True Bucha, kombucha. Oh, there you go. Homemade lemonade, herb, canna root. So this is where we would add more canna root, or more green, more power, more whatever. Oh, we added the moringa. Don't forget, we added green moringa too. Yeah, pow. Right? I forgot about that. I'm gonna add a bit more of the cannabis root water right now. Gonna bring it up to like just the top there. That'll be enough. Oh, that's sweet. 16 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
That's perfect.
2 16s, double 16. That's a quad infinity in my world. Okay, so there's our Mr. Green. There's our Oscar the Green.
Ooh,
right
that
here.
Sounds good.
Boom. But we got 47.5 on that, babe. And that is our green love. So we got green, brown, purple, red, and yellow. Here is your rainbow. Coming at you from Chef's by Design. I'm Mrs. CBD, Chef Kristen. pH is sitting at 4.51. I'm still under 4.6 and 4.5. So all of them are under the the health authority levels, 4.5 pH, which is awesome to know the safety and security is there. So if you're margining around this formula and this environment that you're matching and pairing to what we're doing, you could come very closely to these numbers too. So hopefully this helps about that much, like that much booch, because you've got 200 mils of liquid, so you're really only filling that much. And out of the whole liter, it's not a liter. This is the final 15 liter. This is the black tea. Now don't ever be feared if you see any of these bubbles. They're just blister bubbles from the warmth, heat, and those are bubbles underneath here that basically gas up and lift them separate. So we're going to add this to the Scoby Hotel right now. That's the underneath one that was just a little bit more murky. Look at that activity, isn't this nice? So off the top, I take 2. And look at that, that just shows you how living and vibrant she is, right? This is what I'm talking, when I was saying different ones give you different personalities of like how vibrant they are. Do you see how active the bubbles are here? There, just for good luck. So now we're going to, look at that. We're gonna make root beer out of this. We're doing the lemon verbena and we're doing plain. So now we stir really well. Yeah, we can strap a lid on those ones. Tuck
You
the
need
hotel.
that flattened out a little more.
Yeah, I think I just put my hand in there. Thank you. So it's 7.1 and we're sitting at 312. 313 pH and 7.1 bricks percent. Beautifully rested. We're gonna do a 5-day flip on 2 feeds and carry on testing about that. We have worked through our flavors. All right, beautiful people. We have successfully bottled booch. So in our timeline here that we were working on, we just cleared and finished number 5, where we're bottling. You can either refrigerate just as plain tea or green and black, or you can have flavoring of 15 to 20%, depending on your time and temperature of season. And that's what we've done with all of these flavors here, 20%. You're gonna see them start to separate liquid, sediment. That's okay, just let it go, don't touch them. 5 days, say goodnight. And then we're going to drink them. Basically, they go into the fridge. So from that point, great choice, keep it going, 4 to 6 days. The only rule is you got to factor how much you're going to drink, how much fridge space you can hold these. Once they need their fridge space, you have to get them in there. And so, lovely enough, we have a double door reaching fridge. Yeah, I know. Ah, she's our silver bullet. We love her.
It's a brew. That's a brew. And we got our other little booze sitting so nicely. We're doing face masks. And we've got booch and Scoby hotels. So much fermenting love in here. We got no worries for having a good, healthy gut.
All right, welcome beautiful humans. We are now into, so we've gone through this beautiful mise en place board all the way down to the recap. Now in this recap, we're going to assess the scobies that I'm going to feed for a hotel. And then I'm gonna brew to feed. Then we're gonna open them up.
And I'm gonna share with you guys the journey. Open these up. Lovely enough, there's still no fruit flies. Tell her it'd be just so in heaven. I'm also gonna share with you guys what happens, why I kept some of these juices, what happens when they stay at room temp. How long does it take for them to mold? Steeper tea, you only wanna let it go for 24 hours, not 48 hours. Okay, so, because then mold will grow. Get fermenting. When you commit, you commit. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the order, okay? There's 6 years of, you know, the whole time while we were in kits, we were brewing 60 liters a month in 1-bedroom apartment with a 1-sink kitchen, little kitchen that you get in these little apartments with 1 sink, not a double sink. And we were doing 60 liters. Nuts. So yesterday we did 97 bottles, and that was out of 75 liters of kombucha tea. So I have a whole bunch of SCOBY hotels. I've waited to see what I was going to do with this in life. I didn't know what was going to happen. And so I just keep feeding them. And what happens is if you just keep feeding sweet tea 1 to 3 months around, depending on how much you feed your hotels, and you know, they're going to be great. And some dried out just as they're sitting and aging. I do like to use my normal straight up hands, washed and sanitized and cleaned up, just like to a doctor, past your elbows, scrub in. And then I come in and we have a paddle too. Actually, I gotta go get the paddle. This is a comfortable SCOBY amount. Feeding the hotels of the SCOBYs that are submerged underneath one big giant SCOBY. Now they're all SCOBYs, so they're all very much the same. Can you come this way, please? They're all very much the same size. So sometimes they want to belly up if your vessel goes down slightly, and these ones do. And these ones out here have ribbed lining over here. So when you come in, you can see there's little nugget pockets. So now they've started to form again and again. So often I just push and find where those locked corners are, and I keep pushing them in. So what I have is a lot of SCOBYs, and I got to do something with them. We've been holding them, we've birthed them, and we've never let them go unless we've given them away or we've cooked or eaten them and shared them. So I can't compost them. They're my little vagina babies, and you're going to see why, because I just absolutely adore these. Now, we are mom and dad to more than just Tegan. These are our girls too. You're going to see all different walks and sizes. And so this is an outer size, big hunkin' SCOBY. And then you're gonna see other ones underneath. Here's a little one. Here, watch this. Here's a little one, and here's a big one. Ding. Basically, you can see I don't have a lot of liquid in there, and so I'm pushing that down. You know, I need to get some liquid to swim. In this murkiness is very yeasty too, so I don't want all that to make my vinegar. I'd rather keep murky, feed it, marry them heavier, and then open up space to make 2 or 3 that are just straight vinegar with 1 or 2 SCOBYs at top, and let it ferment. Now, the longer you let it ferment, the more it grows, and it'll eventually eat itself whole. And I have a beautiful test subject about that story. So, more to come about that. This is not illusion, and she's heavy. So I'm gonna try and flip her. I'm trying to keep her in so I don't drip her. Look at that. All right, there we go. I'm gonna come up. So you can see, look at that bubbly one in there. Holy moly. She's super jelly and bubbly. That's just, yeah, it's just so fast. That is dry. That's just, and that's what'll happen. It'll just turn darker. It's just dry. It's just dehydrated. Look at them. So you guys want to talk SCOBYs? Do I know a thing or two about SCOBYs? Okay, so not much liquid. I've, again, need to feed. One of these pails could be a perfect feed for each one, and that could give a nice harmony. 120 grams of tea, 1,200 grams of sugar, 16 liters of water. And so boil your water, so put more in than what you need, more than 16 liters, because you have 10 minutes of a rolling boil, then you turn it off, then you add it in. So I'm just making my own tea bag. So I'm just basically making a little pocket with space. So I'm just trying to get all the seams up here, and then I'm taking, you know, butcher's twine. You can use any type of secure, you can use a clamp if you'd rather. I took a sheet from a sewing store. I chopped it into 8. I got a seamstress to serge because I didn't have a serger, so I got her to serge those. And we've been using these for going on 2 years now. So they will go in after. But what goes in first is the sugar. we are officially making a simple syrup to start. So you turn your scale on, you put the container on, you zero your scale, it sets to 0. You add 1,200 grams of sugar. 1204. Let me just take out that little boop. There we go. So this now, boiling hot water, pours over the sugar, stir it up, one good stir just to move the granules off the bottom. So we have one designated spoon. I give that a stir. We plunk in, tea bag. We let this rest overnight. Tomorrow we take the tea bag out. We pour the liquid, feeding the sugary liquid into the scobies. It's still so acidic, it's gonna stay under a 4.6 no matter what, because it's at like 2 right now. It's at like, I've had the vinegars coming in at 0.1, 0.2 on my bricks scale. Like, it was insane, some of the data and history that I have to share. So that's more to come later. This is Chefs by Design. I am Chef Kristen. Welcome to Mr. and Mrs. CBD's home. This is our chef's perspective on how we brew. Coming live as best as I can to you. Cheers. Pour the water over. Okay. But I keep the bottom of the pot in just in case it leaks down. And then back away after a little bit because it steams in your face and it wants to steam burn your knuckles as well. And then once you get more of a lever, go over, back away. The steam comes to your face again. Go in, just pour it all the way in. I find my 15 mark is going just over. She's perfect. Stir the sugar, just get all that in, and it'll dissolve after the first one big good stir here. Just go all over the whole grid, and we go good night. See you tomorrow. This is the stage of feeding our hotels, our scoby hotel. So we, in fact, actually have 7 hotels, and I've organized them to be all at the same level. They're suppressed with just scoby, heavy scoby, very murky, very long time living scobies. Some newer, some fresher. They're just all mixed in now. They all grow into each other. And they're gonna see some pretty awesome stuff. So here we go. I'm scrubbed in. I'm not gonna use gloves today because I'm nicely sealed. I have no cuts. And yeah, I'm good to go. So I like to feel, I think it's very personal, and so I'm ready. We have been working at this board. I'm gonna just bring you over to it because we're gonna keep writing with information, with giving you some more science data. So we're at the stage of beyond the beverage. While we're recapping, I'm gonna finish up some recap here. We're gonna talk about the mold and the eels. And we're going to talk about the first fermentation with caffeine and flavored teas, whether to flavor, not to flavor, what are some troubleshooting, what's going to basically prevent you from making some mistakes. You know, if you're wondering, well, could I use this? Could I use that? Here's our conversation. And if I've missed anything, if there's anything more that you're interested in, reach out to me. Please DM. So rinse vessels and equipment supplies, bottle sanitation, the bottle sanitization, food safety. So I'm just gonna basically recap and close it up with that while we are feeding our hotels. So I'm gonna show you the pH right now and the bricks. Of sweet tea. And 10.7. So it's 5.85 pH. So that's way over 4.6. Therefore, it needs to be fermented. If this went over at one more day, you could start to see, if you look very closely at the top and you didn't disturb it, you could start to see crystals forming, and that actually becomes furry, which is mold. You're living too much with water. It's called AW, water activity. And it's, anyway, here's your tea. Just wanted to show that. That's what we're making the bases out of. We need caffeine. You want absolutely no extra oils, sugars, any essential oils sprayed in there, any little orange rinds. You just want your most basic black or green caffeinated tea. The amount that we did was the 1,600 liters. We did 120 grams of tea, 1,200 grams of sugar, and then after boiling for 10 minutes of water, and we brought that to a boil, poured the water over the sugar, stirred it, add the tea bag, let it rest overnight with a towel, room temperature. We are right here, right now. and we are going to take my hands right in. She's actually quite cold. And it's sitting at 580. So 585, 580, and 10.6, 10.7. So you can see a little bit of variable, and that's what I'm gonna share with you, is there's so much variable. You can look at all of the data that I have and I'm like, oh, it's so consistent, and then it's so, and then I'll sit back and have that for some high tea talk. Anyway, so here we go. We're going to feed our number one. Leave a nice one on the top to seal, just to not fuss. I got my big paddle. What you really want to do is get underneath. It's very murky, so I want to really make these wheels move. I don't want them to not get their feed too. Look at these small ones coming up. They're awesome, right? Like, there's so many sizes, so much fun. Cut them down, keep them big. Right, they take the width of every vessel when you feed. So right now feeding, the girls are gonna form their own. So I put one nice one on top. I find one nice one in there. I find that big round one again. And then I use her like that. And then, oh, like she's got an underneath. There you go. And then they have a lock because of the size. Sometimes they lock and I have to push the bottom ones down. But look at that, they're just in heaven. They're like, yep, thanks, Mom. 8.9 on the bricks. And watch this. And she's still 3.02. One container per big brute. That's from this guy up here. And look how thick that is, hey? Isn't that insane? Yeah. And that's because they sit, they soak up, and they feed. And there's just so many different ones, and probably rectangle ones, and anyway, they just don't change. They might age in color. 15 liter. So cute. So that first part for that splash, I'm just trying to go really slow. I'm using my body, my legs. Now I can go faster. Perfect. You have no idea how perfect this is. Because what I don't like to do is go over the lip. Because when I go over the lip, then I get scobies that can't go down. So if I was over the lip, I would have pulled some out. That's 'm. I just drink that. If you see anything living or you see mold, the only thing that you should see, the bubbles can happen inside. You can float or not. It can go darker or not, whatever. But never mold, ever. When in doubt, throw it out, sanitize it, start again. And I got a 2.55. 3.6. That's not 9. Now, if you're gonna drink that ACV like I used to too, right now we let that go for 4 months. Guess what we're gonna have? Not so murky, beautiful vinegar. Kombucha vinegar. Cook with it, live with it, love with it, sleep with it. Clean with it. Your floors, your walls, your windows. Now that is a vinegar my body says yes to. La, 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 la. Yeah. This was the original that we did 2018, December 4th, 2018. This is balsamic. And that is cherry. Look at the clearness. They were never that clear. Wow. How about this out? moving along anyway. I don't know if anybody wants to see and read this. So basically, have the room temperature set, no bugs, you know, have it in a living environment. Don't shove it into the basement back corner. Just like try to give them some warm area that is protected with a little bit of airflow would be great, right? But I have had a couple fruit flies that when I opened up, they were inside. And so I had noticed that they want like in kind of a couple stuck dead to the side. So what I did was I went out and I took outside the whole bin. I took it and I took out a whole third. This is when they were full, and I took out a whole top third of it, and I just I have pictures back of this. And then I cleaned all around, and then I neutralized. I stopped and halted the problem is what I did. And so that was really cool. So cheers to that. Mama Bear. So tart and vibrant. You can eat her like a sour candy. I'm not kidding you. Just eat her. That's a big mouth. Oh, Harmony is just so gorgeous. All right, so I'm starting to empty out the bags, and then I'm gonna give them a wash. These have already just got soaked. Now I'm just gonna give them a good rinse out. But cheers.
Hello to all the wonderful humans who have taken time to tune into this video tonight. I'm Chef Tyler of Mr. and Mrs. CBD, Chefs by Design. Give a quick little informative video as to how to clean kombucha bottles. Since it's been about 6 years, Mrs. CBD and I have been brewing kombucha now. It has become a routine for me in particular on keeping these clean and sanitized and ready to go for the next round, because as we drink so much, we clean equally as much of these bottles. So first tip of cleaning kombucha bottles is rinse the bottle right away after you finish drinking the kombucha out of it. If it sits for an hour, you might be all right, but if it sits for a day, it's gonna be a pain. It gets sticky. We have drank a lot of kombucha, let me tell you, over the last 6 years. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of liters have been consumed by my wife and myself, and now our son Tegan is just guzzling it back to our delight. After you rinse it, what I like to do is put a couple inches of water in with a squirt of diluted dish soap. I dilute this at about 100 to 1, just a light dilution, so it gives you a little sudsies in there, and then it can sit until you're ready to clean it. And tonight is that night, so here we go. What I do is just give it a little rinse out, rinse, 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 and I come out with this nice clean bottle. It is all clean of any soap, rinsed right out and beautiful. If there happens to be anything stuck to the inside, please find a bottle brush of your liking and give it a good scrub, because having anything in there is not good for reuse. Next step would be sanitizing. And let me tell you, I bought this bottle of Star San 6 years ago when we started brewing kombucha, and that is how much I've gone through in that time. A little bit goes a long way. It's 7 mils per 5 liters of water is the recipe that I use on this one. So, like I said, a little goes a long way on that. What I do with that is I put it in this bottle sanitizer device that you pick up at your local wine brewing store, and quite simply insert bottle over the top, give it a few pumps until it sprays up into the bottle, let it drip out clean, give it a few shakes, and hang it on the tree. Quite simply. A few pumps in there, a couple shakes, let it hang out on the tree. If you follow these easy steps, keeping your bottle clean won't be a problem. It's a great way to keep them clean.
I'm gonna share my version of what I've gone through in detail as best as I can, up to date, for what I've learned with kombucha care and scoby care. Very excited. I've never done this, never laid everything out. These are vinegars that we had aged last year, and I took a portion from our garden and wanted to share in conversation and create this as a conversation starter. So this is our Romanescos, just so stunning. So I hope to have these on display for life. Welcome to the inside of my brain and what I've learned for the last 6 years with kombucha. And this is so important. And then this is basically from that version. I went to this. I'm a word girl. Kombucha was known as the immortal health elixir by the Chinese, originating Far East around 2,000 years ago. Consuming foods containing beneficial bacteria can help support the bacteria in our bodies. Fermented foods are a rich source of probiotics, that is, beneficial bacteria. When done right, fermented foods help with nutrient absorption, vitamin synthesis, breaking down proteins, alkalizing pH, restoring homeostasis, boosting immunity, and producing immunoglobulins. Kombucha does not aim to simply elevate the symptoms of disease. It empowers the body to get to work on the root cause. Kombucha can correct systemic imbalances. As an adaptogenic tonic, kombucha contains elements that offer nutritional and digestive support, strengthening the immune system and assisting in removing impurities from the blood and organs. Kombucha can help populate the gut with good bacteria and B vitamin-rich yeast, lower the pH of the stomach, and jumpstart digestion and nutrition absorption with a number of healthy acids and enzymes. Why it works? Well, kombucha contains naturally fermenting probiotics that help maintain healthy gut flora by increasing the number of beneficial organisms. It preserves nutrients and breaks them down into an easily digestible form, which allows you to absorb them better. It enhances the absorption of minerals, particularly calcium, iron, zinc, magnesium, phosphorus, and copper. Healthy gut flora improves digestion, fights candida overgrowth, improves mental clarity, and stabilizes mood. A healthy gut can also attribute to reducing or eliminating depression and anxiety. Kombucha contains numerous strains of yeasts and up to 20 different bacteria species and possibly many more. It detoxifies the body. The enzymes and bacteria acids in kombucha are easy. The enzymes and bacterial acids in kombucha ease the burdens on the liver by reducing pancreatic load. Kombucha contains gluconic acid, which binds to toxins and increases their excretion through the kidney or intestines. It contains vitamin C and a potent detoxifier. It supports the nervous system. Kombucha contains vitamin B, which has been supporting the nervous system, and it's anti-aging and supports the joints. Kombucha contains glucosamine, which are vital for the treatment and prevention of arthritis. Kombucha allegedly eliminates gray hair, increases sex drive, and improves eyesight. Kombucha concentrates the antioxidants found in tea. And antioxidants not only fight the environmental toxins known as free radicals, which contribute to illness and disease, but help slow the anti-aging process. Theoretically, powerful antioxidant nutrients can prevent and lessen wrinkles by promoting skin elasticity. It's antimicrobial. Ha! See? So much greatness. Kombucha is antimicrobial due to its acetic and organic acids, proteins, enzymes, and bacteriocins. It exerts antimicrobial activity against pathogenic bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella. Thank you, kombucha. Thank you, powerful scoby. We absolutely love you. So I share this theory of health because a lot of people are wondering, and so I just thought I would just share while I, started an intro as we poured a booch. This is what we got tested back in 2018. So we've got here per gram is 1,000 for the scoby. This was October 2018. So this is a fresh scoby. So you can see plain booch comes in at 900,000 per gram of probiotic count per gram. Like how many probiotics do I got in my belly? And vinegar has none. Did you notice that? That is really, really, really important. Vinegar has none. So we are looking at pH. We are looking and learning about the Brix, which is the sugar density, learning the pH and understanding we want to stay under. When we're sweet, we're over 4.6, so we have to be careful, as well as that one. And then our first ferments came in already at 3. And then we have our juices. They're already under, so we're good there. And now they're all fermenting. And so I did a test on when that was going in the fridge, and it too was again under because it's all under, so it was all safe. So to bring you up to speed now, we have basically the scobies and all this information. I'm gonna go from the start to the very beginning here. And I'm going to basically set up the camera so I can use both hands, and we'll talk from where it all started. Cheers. Hello, beautiful humans. Welcome to our kombucha science lab. So I've got some history and data and videos and bottle openings and lots of really cool stuff that I'm really excited to splice together and make this series, or to make this segment. And so I'm here to share what we've got. I've never laid it all out, and I've just been filming a little bit, splicing together as Tegan and Tyler are here and awake. Just gonna do this. Coming at you live as I can do it. Cheers. This is naturally carbonated. Should always just stay down to the last. And for a few days, can stay carbonated in the fridge. Way better than a beer. So the difference is these bubbles that are suppressed into these beautiful bottles are naturally the natural gases and alcohol that trap in, like in bread production, there's gluten at work. So the gluten will basically be developed, and then as the carbon dioxide gas and alcohol is fed from the sugars, it's going to release into the, basically you're gonna fart and toot it away, but it gets trapped into the gluten network and then expands in the dough. So then therefore we bake it in the oven and you have leavened bread. When you come into here, it gases away. Hi. When you come into here, it gases away, and then what we have is the bottles that get trapped in. So everything just stays suppressed. So over time, it can blow, and that's what happened to us in our very first brewing experience in the first year. We had one bottle blow on us, and nothing like that ever since. We've been testing a lot of stuff along the way, and I've just, from all of the testing and brewing, I just, it's fun. And how do I not just, log that and keep that, and we'll see what that turns into be like. So I'm here to share what we've got missed to. Big support and help and thank you to Tyler from the bottom of my heart. Back when the data was like, I was painfully trying to use my brain and keep this logged so I could do the pH and the Brix as beautiful as I could and give the information about what's going on, personality. So who knows if this will ever get us and take us anywhere, but I want to share it because I've created it. We have acetic acid and gluconic acid that are present in kombucha, and then vinegar basically eats up all of the bacteria and then it makes it super, super, super potent, but yet with a mellow flavor. So it's very much like rice wine vinegar, where it's like light, you can drink it a little easier than white distilled vinegar. A lot of homes are filled with commercial vinegar, but I encourage brewing and aging your own kombucha into vinegar. Because why not? And how beautiful. You can use it as a face tonic to heal cracked feet, and you can add it with cannabis coconut oil And this has been in the fridge for a very long time, a couple of years, and it's basically a paste that I made. I have some curiosity. I feel like the scoby is the beautiful byproduct that we have here of kombucha. I feel like this scoby that people are composting, just wonderful. It's super sharp, super acidic. Here's the puree. I've got some in the fridge. This is one from a year ago, year and a half ago. This one is room temperature that I'm just plain using. And then this is a scoby that we are culturing right now in the liquid. So I just wanted to bring that out and share. So a lot of pureed scobies, a lot of vinegar. This is, what is this? Our true kombucha. Excellent balanced taste, 2.5 bricks, 8 full months aged, tested at 2.4, sweet and tart at July 9th, 2018. So now, this is what I want the bricks for. Let's give this a go. What's she gonna say to me today? I'm just getting my machine started. So I'm just gonna get the bricks started here. We do a solution, and then we do the amount right in. I usually like to just give a dab before. There we go. 2.4. 2.4. Didn't change. It's 2021. What it does is it'll eat itself until it's basically non-existent. And I proved and tested that with a full kombucha that I did at a workshop. And then we had a full extra one like this. So what she did was she basically made herself a SCOBY, started drinking the liquid, grew thick, got that thick. I couldn't take her out. She started to soak up and continue to eat the same liquid. And then she basically went short, started to eat herself from the bottom up, shriveled herself away, and almost pretty much we just went away. Just like fascinating how beeswax and candles just, we become like dust. It's wild. Moving from glass jars to the bags. This one has aeratedness. Pretty neat, the old age to that SCOBY, the way that it's formed. This one is just sucked into the bag. So that one had the air, and then again, most of them didn't. Grow like a balloon in the airplane, like a big bag of chips ready to pop, and then they come back down, and that's what these do. So this one of these had all the liquid just spewed out, and this one's so aged, and you can just see it's like, wow. 2018, 2 years ago. It's just so cool how it's like, wow, I burped it on August 18th, 2018, and it exploded out a third. It was dense puree. Now it's airy like the others. So it was really dense and tight, and I remember that. And yeah, it was just like a volcano. I've got video footage of that, so I can pull that back up. This is basically like a thud paste. It's like super thick and dense. This is one old aged one turning brown, and that's in a plastic vessel. So you can see that just more or less denatured more than glass. I'm so fascinated to see this stuff just not die and not move, not grow, not do anything. This is a super thin SCOBY. So I was doing this way back in 2018, July 26, 2018. And so if I take her out, which is super cool. See, SCOBY's form on top, but watch this. And the liquid, see, because the SCOBY's formed on top, the liquid will stay in there. But look at this. This is from 2018. And she's like, just like from the day I put it in. Look at that. That was 2 years ago I put that in there. Isn't that wild? Wow. I'm gonna try and hold that up to the light. Look at that. Isn't that insane? Another thin. This one's the August one I just did. It's a nice big thin SCOBY. One very large thin SCOBY. Here you go, Noma. I got one too. So yeah, I guess these are gonna continue to hang out on my shelf because where else would they go? This is just another one, 20. We like to just keep some around so I can test against, like right now I could test that. But just because we tested the one, I don't need to test the other ones. I mean, I could, but yeah, they're all around 2.7. And Yeah, look at that. Look how clear that is. So basically, the yeast eats the sugars and it produces carbon dioxide, gas, and alcohol. So that's the bubbles that form that we basically eat and we digest and we toot or fart. And what happens in the kombucha, it gets trapped in the glass bottles or it breathes out. Or like with bread, it gets trapped in the gluten network. So alcohol is a byproduct. It's released, it's out there. We're not deriving for alcohol here at all, but there are people now that because of distribution levels of the margins and the restrictions and the guidelines that people offering kombucha for sale commercially, there's options that they can take to manipulate the control of the activity of fermentation. One of the ways is by stripping out the alcohol. And so some people, like Dr. Brewed down south in the US, they have a machine that is a distiller that they're actually making kombucha alcohol and they're bottling that and selling it now. So who knows where this will all go. Some people are making leather. We're gonna talk about the leathers, dog treats, clothing, you know, packaging, edible, compostable packaging. I just think it should be definitely everywhere. We should just get this everywhere. It should be our animal feed. It should be just, you know, we just need to transform what we're doing because everything is so stale, so processed, so cooked, so fried, so dried out, so just hard and processed and filled and stuffed and toxinated and irritated, and it's smothering us. And then we're wondering why we have illnesses and why our cells are, you know, confused. So it's really fascinating, you know, doing some fluid gels. There's that one there. Our first ever kombucha vinegar. Here's some more I was obviously using. And that's why they're down, because I was, you know, cooking with them. So last summer we did a whole bunch of these ones that I'm showing up here. And those are for show. Those are conversation starters. This is just a regular one. And then when we did we brewed for a class and then we had extra. So we basically flavor. So this is pretty neat here. So we take the vinegar or we take the kombucha, we make items. These are some of the condiments in our fridge right now. These are last year's carrots, still just using them up. Literally they've sat in our fridge. This is like 1-2 more Romanescos. Tegan and I just took one down earlier. We started and made a beautiful kimchi that I've just cracked open. That's the scoby on top. And then I basically have the beautiful kimchi slaw inside. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Look at that gorgeous kimchi. So that's how I like it. I like it kind of slaw-like. Carrots and, oh, gorgeous. So I'm gonna move that back. She's very, very spicy. We're doing kombucha jellies. Now these ones are a bit moist. They were in the freezer. They were the most moist ones. They're beautifully set, but they're just. So they're juicy if I touch them. That was with the Merlot. Yeah, bub. Da-da, he's so amazing. These ones in here. They've been in the back of my fridge for God knows how long. Some definitely quite a few months. I also tested them. They're super dried out, but I tested them just sitting in the warm room, drying out further. So they're just like harder, firmer. They haven't aged. Besides, there's no molding. It's just like your fruit snack leather. Like that's all this is just like chewy fruit snack leather. Basically, this is just a nice little thin pad that I did. I showed here a thicker type of form is thicker, and then it's super thin. So just different levels. And I only add kombucha and gelatin and set them. I don't add any sugar. This is a SCOBY sheet. So this is basically a puree that I did in a rectangle form. Super thin. They are good for pig's ear. They're just starting to give crystallization. Anyway, super neat. These are just scobies. Scobies. So if you were to rehydrate and chew, this is way more fibrous. You almost have to hydrate it, chew it for a while, and then spit it out. It'd be hard on the tummy, right? Hard on the tummy. This, if you just chewed it, it'll dissolve. And so for the animals, I think this is the way to go more than this. So these are two. One is puree, and this one is a whole dried SCOBY. Oh, peekaboo. Yeah. We started to take some of the scoby and we pureed it with fruit and dehydrated it. This is a fruit leather, super thin. Dried mango sheet, super dry. Yeah, dehydration. So you go from fresh and dried. So I was starting with some different sheets. See how thin that is? That's really cool. It's dehydrated mango, scoby, fruit leather. Brie 4 years ago. This was then powder, and basically it's in a very crumbly state, and that was one blitz. So this could really become just a powder, a sticky gummy kind of powder, because it rehydrates a bit tacky in your mouth. So again, it could be a really great medium, stored dried. Now what kind of health benefit is this if it's dehydrated all the way? I have not tested yet dehydrated leather, but what we are looking at is a medium that's more organic than something that's synthetic that can be replaced because it's already processed and made and just being composted. So here is some scoby leathers. You go from plain scoby, that is actually a sheet, literally dehydrated, to the plain that's pureed sheet. So same. Then you can add fruit, just a little thicker, this one. And depending on your mixture, it'll start to go from this really tough state to a terrible state. Terrible, get it? Terrible state. So, I don't know if that's like, yeah, there we go. Look how thin that is. So from the regular ones, that's how much they go down, from about that big of a scoby, paper thin. So again, the texture of this is really hard, and once you chew into it, it'll kind of like form like this and gritty, and then you basically, it's just like material. You just want to like take it out. So what I like to offer for anybody, especially for their animals, I would want to try and help them digest. So I recommend we make sheets, and we can chop them, and we can offer them like that somehow as a leather. But I think that the animals would like fruit too. So if you're gonna just do it, we might as well just do one, and then offer that as a offering to your children, offering to your animals. I kind of sandwich pattied these together. Lots of different colors here. Let's see if this light will help. This one, two. This was a big sheet I just tore up, and they're kind of sticky but a little bit dry. Like, they're not really, they're just, you know, the sweeter, softer it'll be. Cherry, banana, date, prune, strawberry, scoby snacks. 2 to 1. Fruit to scoby. February 2nd, 2020. I love the prune and the cherry. So there's that. Dried fruits, these are dried dates. If you got pitted dried dates, and you can puree scoby, and in a jar, like a container, you know, you can basically layer to soak overnight so they hydrate, or dice down your dates, kind of layer it, fold it into some of the scoby. Then the next day puree it. Any type of fruit you can take, and you can puree with the scoby, and you can just basically patty it out. So basically this just gets pureed and then spread about, you know, 1 centimeter to ½ an inch. You want to put it into a rectangle type of form into the dehydrator, and then it'll usually sort of finish off somewhere around here. Or if you take it too far, it potentially can dry out like a super thin sheet and be very wafery thin. So we did noodles, call them worms, wormy. I love the date, I love the prune, I love the sugary sweeter. So that's why I'm liking the dehydrated fruits being blended in, because they're already just that much further along. So what we did was we did banana, and even just straight up fresh banana, because it just dehydrates anyway. You can go fresh. They're very similar, but we absolutely love the banana. Anyway, so yeah, these are tasting just the same as they did the day I made them. And a lot of these are super old. So, like this is February 2nd, 2019, what I'm eating right now. All these guys. And they're just, you know, they're just not as tender as others. So here's an example of a thick piece to a thin piece. Going too thin, like candy. And again, tarts, cookies, fillings, pastries, cakes, layers. I can't wait to just share it all. You can eat it, break it down, no problem, because it's pureed. Strawberry. Oh. Anyway, see, these are in. Right? Super thin. Chinese 5 spice. I can smell it. I ate the strawberry one. Lovely enough. And then I did some oats because we make our own granola. So I did little granola oat balls. And these I just pressed with the date. I basically rolled it up. That's date. That's prune. That's banana. Read that label. Oh yeah. Nailed it. That is chewy ball. Power ball. Your own homemade granola ball. That one's got amaranth and quinoa. And you soak your nuts, dehydrate them, process them into granola. Make a thick paste. I'll show this a little bit more. Make this a thick paste in a ball. And it's so crispy, actually. That's cool. These are pretty old. Nothing's moldy. That's still. Not bad. This is banana. Scoby let her gone too far. So what I did was I cut squares as pyro. You can hear it. I started getting some of the mulch from the juicery because I was realizing that, and it irritates me thinking about all of the wasted food that could be beneficially used, but because of restricted margins, there's often a lot of food wasted. So it's pretty serious stuff. So what we've categorized is basically a yellow mix, a green one, and a red one from all of the different rainbowy types of drinks. And so in the yellow one, you're gonna find carrot, apple, orange, ginger, turmeric, pineapple, and pear. And yeah, that's our yellow powder. So we, to make 1 cup volume, it took 4 liters of product, 4 kilograms of product in a bucket would make this much. So that much on 4 sheets that get dehydrated, and then I basically gave them a 1-time blitz in our Vitamix, and that's this. So it could go further, but there you have it. It's super powerful, super potent, lots of turmeric and ginger. The green one is definitely still has a lot of similar ingredients with the base ingredients, what you'd find, but you know, the green one has kale, lots of kale and apple, and the red one has obviously the beet base. So they're really, I could open them and smell them, but they're one of beautiful, they're just all beautiful in their own. So that's what I also have up here, showcasing up here in these little vessels is just, again, an open conversation starter is what that is up there. So these mulch powders are treated in my world. I like to look at them like a gluten-free flour substitute. So just like we were using a nut meal or a bean meal, meal means ground. And if it's a ground dried powder or flour, anything ground down is classified as a flour. So you can have amaranth flour, you can have quinoa flour. Quinoa is a great place to sit. It's actually a seed. It's not actually a grain. Most nuts and grains need to be soaked to remove any type of negative enzymatic reaction for our bodies. It helps process in our bodies to assimilate the food. So having some help with that by adding, by fermenting, soaking, you know, there's these activation ways. Basically the powders are here. We've started mixing them with the scoby fruit leather. And then what we started to come up with was a really nice kind of chewy, more chewy, gritty, grainy texture. So that's what you're seeing here. And this is really neat because it's actually really fibrous and there's a bit more grit texture, but it could be really great as it could be thicker. Like what I mean by thicken it up and roll it, right? Make that into a good ball. And you just got a nice big patty ball. Boom, right? Mmm. So good. Mmm. It's a really good idea, right? Just roll some balls and eat those. Coat that in chocolate. You know what I mean? It's that easy. Mmm. It's a big bite. So good. This looks like it's the molding, but it's not. That white is just sugars, just like you find on dried figs. It's a yellow one. So is anyone of interest to get into the animal food industry and help transform it? Here we go. Now, add flour, make crackers, make tart bases, pastry fillings, samosa fillings, falafel fillings. Treat this as a substitute like a gluten-free flour because it doesn't have the binding texture at all and it hydrates a bit moist. I'm going to show you the dehydrated banana, the one we nailed. It's so beautiful. You can see those are just the roll-ups, just rolled up. This is the banana one. So this is from dried banana. Oh. Dehydrated banana scoby. It's the best. Mmm. Let's get some of that. Take them. Getting these into cookies and layers and cakes and tarts and it's gonna get that tag what I did. Remember animals, snacks, cats, dogs, kids. I don't have I don't think I have any more of the actual crackers that I did. I gave them all to some family friends recently. It's been in there for a long time. That in the fridge, so this doesn't look good because it's just kind of like splattered in. But this is scoby and date. Been in the fridge for a few months, no problem. Mmm, good. So good. I should have that labeled. Now this one has the actual powder. Yellow powder. Scoby, mango fresh, ripe, yellow powder. Very pasty and vibrant. March 18th, 2021. Super beautiful. Look at that. So that's, oh, zings. That's just like the day I put it in. So much vibrant flavor. I mean, this is going in compost right now. It's insane. So this is what happens when we rehydrate it. You wanna try some? That's the scoby paste. Just a little bit. That's with the pow. Remember a yellow pow we're doing? Tegan loved to eat the pow. What was your favorite part? The kale? Remember eating the green kale out of the pow? Anyway, I just have less and less and less and less. So there's just a couple short ones. There you go. I have a lot of hope. I'm passionate we can transform and change the industry. This is scoby puree and mango and yellow powder. Okay, so straight up. This one's being dehydrated further and it's very, very hard. It looks just as, there we go. Okay, so it's super hard. There you go. These are the little hard pieces, right? Small, big. They're definitely hard. And then this is 24 hours. The other one it's soft and chewy and mushy. So this is super yellow. That's hard, honey bunny. So it's like super brown compared to super yellow. So soft, mushy. Yeah? Mama. Mushy, mushy, mushy. These little dehydrated, little thicker, chunky ones. Not more? You want more, Nana? Yeah. It was good, eh? Yeah. I'm still chewing it too. I had a big piece. There, I'll rip you a big piece. Yeah. You can take it and slow chew. Yeah. He's loved everything. So these dried out too much. They're super like chewing hard. Or not super, they're just more chewy. That turmeric just kicks, it just starts zinging. Yeah. I'm gonna need some water, it's like powerful. Going to the garbage right now. And all the juiceries around North America, around Canada, all the juiceries are literally composting all this beautifulness that we can be making as chefs, but I can't even get it given to me into the industry. So what I'm encouraging is that we get this all into our own kitchen environments, whether it's a professional or it's a personal private one, and let's get everyone fueling a little bit more with homemade products. Get away from the processed foods that are in packaging that is just there to just, you know, wait to be eaten one day. Better to have the stuff in your own cupboard that you make, I would think. So we took the top of the scoby that we formed the kimchi. We put one on top as the sealant for the 3-4 weeks or whatever it was. Top layer, sealed, spicy. And they're really chewy. I don't recommend because that's an actual sheet. So it would not be good. Anyway, too spicy, so I'm not going for it. So this pretty much concludes it. And yeah, we're all humans, one love. That's what it's all about. We should all be able to eat all the same stuff. Crackers, snacks, chips, cookies, all of it. So let's make it, let's do it as best as we can. Our chef's perspective, Chefs by Design, Mr. and Mrs. CBD. Welcome to our kombucha room. We are in here on day 5 in the evening, and it's time to send these girls to their wonderful fridge, cold temperature. We're also going to just brought to room temperature the sweet tea earlier today to feed. I'm gonna take 2/3 of this because I have more in the fridge to carry on the rest for the next feed. And we're gonna feed the face mask, and we're gonna feed this little ointment pad. So, dun, 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 dun. Check them out. 5 days. Look at that beauty. Look at her. Perfect. So then if I wiggle her, she should have the same kind of thing on top. So we're going to open her up and take her out and take a look. I'm going to do that in a moment. Just get myself set up. So we like to, Tyler usually muscles this, and he takes 9 of these girls and a crate, and we use crates and we walk them into our fridge. So again, you have to have fridge space at this time. So here you go. This was our 95 liters of kombucha brewing at Chefs by Design, Mr. and Mrs. CBD's home. This is from our home to yours.